Have you seen Hocus Pocus 2? Then saddle up on your brooms, sisters. We're about to talk about the new character, Mother Witch. Hi guys, you have McGann, and this is the Fangirl, where over-explaining things is what I do best. And Hocus Pocus 2 has finally released after a 29-year wait for a sequel. I'm not sure why we didn't just wait for the 30th anniversary to release this, but whatever. Anyways, to do a quick recap for those of you wanting the plot but refusing to watch the movie, we start out with this backstory of the Sanderson sisters being these outcast orphans in Salem, and this gorgeous lady appears, referred to as Mother Witch in the credits, and she mysteriously gives the sisters book. Then we flash forward to a group of, I'm not sure if this is the correct term, but modern day teenage hippie witches, and they are given a remade black flame candle, and then poof! The Sanderson sisters are back with a second chance to fully resurrect themselves before sunrise. I think they need to work the kinks out of this candle system because one short night is nowhere near enough time to harvest children. However, things are a little different this time. Like, for absolutely no reason, the sisters come onto Earth singing a rehearsed musical number. Don't get me wrong, it is a fun little song, but in the original movie, they sing to sort of get all of the active adults in Salem stuck in a dance loop, and the goal was that they were supposed to exhaust themselves to death by dancing. So there was a purpose for that song, but this initial musical number is just a bizarre interruption of the story in a moment where the witches should be very alert, not to mention eager, to keep themselves alive this time around. So it's a cute little moment, it's just not a moment that makes much sense. And actually, the major plot points are the same in this sequel, except it is revealed that Book has a spell called Magica Maxima that would make the witch's power level over 9,000! And it's a little strange that this spell had no bearing on the first plot, but hey, maybe Winifred is more keen on trying Magica Maxica out because they failed to stay alive in their 1993 return. Who knows? I'm just trying to make these plot holes work. So instead of letting Sarah lure children over and brewing a potion again, the witches go straight to this new spell of trying to become all-powerful while simultaneously wanting to get revenge on their old enemy, which is the descendant of the preacher of Salem who, I guess, probably executed the witches back in the day. They didn't directly say that in this movie, but it's heavily implied. At the very least, it's clear that the preacher man did not like the Sanderson sisters or spiders. Although if you do like spiders, you are just a masochist. I'm sorry, that's the truth. I don't make the rules. Also, even though we have the three main witches and Billy Butcherson returning, the rest of the cast is notably absent. I was so sure that one of the teenage witches was going to be the daughter of Max or even Danny, but no, they're all just randos, and the original cast members don't even get a cameo. Did Max, Danny, and Allison all leave? What? What about the Hocus Pocus 2 book? Did nobody bother to read that before they wrote this script? And I mean, seriously, wouldn't one of the protagonists from the first film be a much more relevant and obtainable enemy than the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson of some random preacher man who was just doing his job? I mean, yeah, the guy was a jerk. Yeah, the guy didn't like Winifred. Yeah, they could see him as an enemy, but Max literally brought them back to life just to let them die again, and thwarted them at every turn possible. The preacher was more like Winifred's nemesis and vice versa. Plus, with how several other things worked in the movie, I am very surprised that Thackeray Binks didn't end up possessing Cobweb the cat until the witches were defeated again. I'm just saying, there were a lot of missed opportunities in this movie, and the guy who played Max even came out and said he was never asked to participate in a sequel. What? Why? Unless Omri has had a really sketchy history since Hocus Pocus came out, that is a huge kick in the face. But getting back to the plot, Winifred completes the Magica Maxima, and then Book abandons her for the hippie witches. And once the new witches have Book, he reveals that the Magica Maxima comes at a horrible, Full Metal Alchemist level price, where Sarah and Mary get turned into glitter for Winnie to get her power stats maxed out. Winifred immediately regrets this and pleads with Book for help. She even says that her powers mean nothing without her sisters, so she will give them up.
Please, wilt thou help me?
What, you're willing to give up your powers?
My powers are nothing without my sisters!
And as new witches, the hippie witches are able to cast a special spell that sends Winnie to her sisters, now making all 3 of the Sanderson sisters into glitter bombs and implying that they are now powerless and thereby can never return to that realm again. The movie ends with the 3 new hippie witches leaving with Book, while notably using the walking mannerisms of the Sanderson sisters, and the bird form of Mother Witch is flying above them. And if you stayed for the end of credits scene, Cobweb actually leads us to noticing that there's a second remake of the Black Flame candle in the Sanderson Museum. Now, it feels like Disney wanted to leave the door wide open to start a Hocus Pocus series about these teenage girls using magic for good. And that does make sense because rumor has it that several of the key characters, including Bette Midler, were not very keen on coming back to the franchise. So if Disney wants to continue with Hocus Pocus, they're going to have to pivot the focus. Hocus Pocus focus, haha! And I will say, the movie is fun, but it is nowhere near as good or charming or interesting as the original film. And it is very strange that the witches have this almost victim mentality put onto them. You know, they didn't want to become witches. Winifred was born a witch, and then she had to make decisions to keep her sisters safe. So what if they eat children? No big deal. Who needs more children? There's overpopulation in the world. I mean, I'm surprised the movie didn't go with that angle at some point. We also have these good witches appearing in the movie as to not fully demonize witches and witchcraft itself. You know, Disney always trying to stay in that perfect little make everybody happy bubble. They probably didn't want to upset people who would be offended by the old school, you know, pure evil portrayal of witches. I don't hate the idea of having good witches or a backstory in general because, of course, the best villains believe in what they're doing. They need a good backstory to be interesting, or at least the potential of one. But it definitely goes against the vibe of the first movie, where we have this ultimate sort of evil that the entire audience can band together and love to hate. So even though I understand why certain changes have been made, giving the witches that kind of a backstory ends up really taking the teeth out of these characters who originally killed children to suit their own needs and who didn't care who they trampled on to get what they want. And if Winnie had been successful in draining Max's life force out of him in the first movie, she would have survived alone while her sisters blew up around her, and that didn't bother her at all in that moment. So to have Winifred be defeated by losing her sisters and having this broken heart, it really seems out of character for Winifred compared to how she acted in the first film. However, enough reviewing, let's talk about the most interesting part of the movie, which is Mother Witch. She is the opener of Hocus Pocus 2, where her bird form is flying overhead, and then she appears in the woods. First, Mother Witch is singing to lure Sarah out in an attempt to suck her soul or youth or however exactly that works. Then Mother Witch sniffs Winifred and is taken aback at her power level. Finally, after some brief words of encouragement, Mother Witch hands over Book and vanishes. She doesn't offer any real help. She just laments about how she lost her coven and then pieces out. Like, sis, isn't this a new coven forming right here in front of you that you could join right now? But let's dissect this for a minute. Between the Sanderson sisters, Winifred is good at zapping green lightning with her fingers. Mary is frequently sniffing people to find children and get details. And Sarah's job is to sing and Pied Piper little children to their dooms. They all seem to have one special skill or power. And yet, Mother Witch uses her olfactory to gather information, sings to draw out children, turns into a bird, she can do lumos with her fingers, and she has this glowy eye thing that isn't well explained. Also notice, her outfit features a single eye, which is very reminiscent of Book's single eye. There's also a lot of emphasis put on the fact that Mother Witch is alone, and we're told that her coven is long gone because people don't like witches. Now, I think they want us to infer that her coven was destroyed during the Salem witch trials, but that can't be right, because the Salem witch trials occurred between 1692 and 1693, which hasn't happened yet at the time Winifred is 16. So based on that, and the fact that Mother Witch is very adamant that Book does not like performing Magica Maxima, my theory is that Mother Witch performed Magica Maxica, got all of the powers, lost her coven, and made Book so upset that he refused to work for Mother Witch any longer, and he just passive-aggressively kept to himself from that point on. And if that were the real story, then it would make sense as to why Mother Witch passed on Book to Winifred when there was no real reason or benefit in doing that. It was because Book needed a new owner to be cooperative again. Book had become dead weight, and giving him away curried Mother Witch good favor with the new coven. However, we're also told in the movie that only a new witch can perform whatever spell it was that sent Winifred to be wherever her sisters were. So, to see Mother Witch's bird following the hippie witches at the end of the film seems to suggest that Mother Witch might also be trying to reunite with her lost coven. However, if that were the case, then why not just ask the Sanderson sisters to perform that spell some 300 plus years ago? It just doesn't add up. However, if you watch Mother Witch's scene again, she says point blank that Salem is run by fools and that one day it will belong to us, meaning the witches.
Special? Salem is dreadful.
Only because it is run by fools! But one day Salem will belong to us.
Now, obviously, with the lore and the tourism, that might already be true in a lot of senses. But I don't think that's the type of belong that Mother Witch is referring to. She is looking for power to take over the city. And while it's made clear that Salem's current mayor is kind of a dolt, his daughter, Cassie Trask, is one of the hippie witches in the new coven that owns Book. So after much time, planning, and patience, Mother Witch finally has her ducks in a row where a young witch is coming up in rank and power, and that young witch is also in a very unique position to have the legacy, know-how, and backing to become the mayor of Salem herself within a few decades. So Mother Witch has been sending Book on a journey to try and cultivate new, powerful witches in the world with the hopes to take over Salem, not just by force, but politically as well. And that, my friends, is how you play the long game. I am very interested to find out if a series does manifest and follow this concept. But what do you think? Leave me a comment, and remember, it might not be reality, but theories are more fun. Okay, I'm the wrong witch. I'm a little bit sick, so my voice is not the greatest, but we're gonna have some fun with this. Because it's derp time, which means theory's over. Time for fun, playtime, I don't know. So, come little children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment. Come, little children, the time's come to play here in my garden of magic. Out of oxygen. Okay, like I said, a little bit sick, so forgive me. But then again, it's derp singing, so it's not meant to be good. Okay? So how do you guys like my crazy hair? This is an Arctic fox dye, so this is not a wig. This is actually, this is me now, for however many shampoos that this lasts. But I noticed the orange colors don't tend to stay in for very long. I just kind of wanted to do something different for a hot minute. I know some people who are very into redheads, so I thought I would use up the rest of the orange I had from my flame hair and give this a try. Although I didn't fully take the blue out, so if you notice at the ends, it's kind of brown comparatively because turquoise and orange apparently make a brown. And that's almost my natural hair color, a little bit lighter, but I'd kind of rock the world if my hair was that color naturally. I don't know, guys, I'm thinking about letting my roots become my actual hair color again because I'm tired of chemically burning behind my ears and everywhere else to platinum blonde my hair. Oh, I don't know, guys, but changes might be coming. Might do a hair chop, might do a hair coloring. We'll find out, but I am curious how we all feel about the red because I might like it enough to keep it feeling very Daphne-esque right now. Like I'm just waiting to be kidnapped. None of my stalkers better show up on my Ring camera again, dang it. But yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've done derps, so I wanted to check in and do some derps. I'm not really sure what else to talk about. I mean, we can talk about the movie a little bit more if you guys want to. It really, for having 29 years to write it, it really was not as good as I would have hoped it would be. It wasn't bad, it could have been better. I think we had a lot of fun moments and elements that would have made great, like, shorts. But as an entire film, yeah, it was just missing, Max, Danny, Allison, people we cared about in the first movie. Oh my gosh, Binks, Thackeray Binks, how could you not associate him with the cat at all? It's just cruelty. But once again, Disney, if you want to bounce some ideas off of somebody who's studied film extensively, look me up. I'm sure you could find my email and then my phone number without any effort whatsoever. But I guess, thank the rest of you for watching, and we will see you in the next whatever it will be. I'm trying to do my Halloween schedule, but I'm still so far behind that I'm having trouble catching up to get videos done on a week-to-week basis. So bear with me. I know a lot of you guys do not care for the There I Read It Harry Potter videos. That's fine. I mean, I appreciate if you want to watch and comment on those, but I'm not trying to twist anybody's arm if they don't want to. It's just something that I am trying to post while I'm going through this separation divorce process and having a very hard time focusing and being mentally awake. I'm resting and sleeping a lot just because I am mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically exhausted all the time from this process. But I guess Hocus Pocus focus, and we'll see if that works. Thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. And we will see you next time, family members. Bye! She is... Don't get me wrong, it's a fun little song. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun little song, but see, that doesn't... My hood doesn't want to stay up. Why does the lighting on this look terrible? Because it should be way up here, right? Yeah, okay. I don't like the way this looks. Even this just feels way too... Is this normal? Is this what we're usually working with? Because it doesn't feel right. Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, "Hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that?" Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Family and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos, like you, helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members.